we begin Before we begin this session, I would bow down and offer my prayers to the holy feet of Lord Sadgurudev. Please join me by closing your eyes. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Welcome to yet another awaited session of our weekly Sunday satsang. I am Dipti and have joined this satsang from Glenrock, New Jersey. In the current times, our day-to-day life always goes busy in fulfilling our physical and mental requirements and social responsibilities. In this fast-paced routine life, the requirements of the soul are often forgotten. So first of all, I congratulate each one of you on board for taking some time from your busy schedule and meeting us on this virtual satsang to fulfill the requirements of our soul. Let's get started first by welcoming our Sadguru Dev to bless this occasion by reciting the Swagat Gan. I request Jessica ji to start this session with the Swagat Gan. Over to you, Jessica ji.
Jai Gurudev, Swagakan. Aj Swagataniya Guru Vara Santa Shubhagama Aiye Adhyatma Vidya Divya Jyoti Somarasa Barasaye Dosha Dura Guna Dura Karike Shurahansa Banaye Bede Kama Gati Gyana Karajana Shakti Dwarvataye Kule Dwarva Shabda Saga Bhakta Jana Anahwaye Jana Sadafala Vishwa Shikshaka Shana Anapachaye Aja Swagata Nidya Guru Bara Santa Shubhagama Aye.
Thank you so much, Jessica ji, for reciting the Swagat Gan in a in a very calm and soothing voice. Thank you so much. Now, in the presence of Sadguru Dev, our next prayer to His Holiness is the Mangal Gan. Let us immerse ourselves in His thoughts and pray to Him to eradicate differences and ills among various classes, communities, and sections and have universal peace. Let this earth be a heavenly place with plentiful bliss, prosperity, and peace. I would again request Jessica ji to sing this beautiful composition. Over to you, Jessica ji.
Mangogan. Vishwa Shanti Nama Mangala Parama Guru Kodyaye Vargadvanva Shanti Dorakara Bhava Beda Mitaye Sarvabhuma Samasti Sata Yatmaraja Banaye Bishabasha Bhava Jagamaya Jnana Paradarasaye Sumitri Sukha Shanti Taratala Svarga Bhumi Banaye Vishwa Shikshaka Jana Sadafala Niti Swarva Apanaye Vishwa Shanti Nama Mangala Paramaguru Kodiaye Sadhguru Deva Ki Jai.
Thank you so much, Jessica ji, for putting forward the soulful words of Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan across. Now let's move forward to our next section, which is with wisdom. We introduced this section before few weeks, and today we are really fortunate to have Dr. Subhash Chandraji, who is a doctor practicing in psychiatry in New York City, and he is going to be our guest speaker. And again, I would say he is a great speaker, and we are really glad to have him as our guest speaker today. So over to you, Subhashi, and please shower your wisdom on us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jiji, for your kind words. So my prayers in the holy feet of Sadgurudev. Akhand Tam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. गुरु से बड़ा जग में नहीं कोई, ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश न होई। ऋषि मुनि योगी गुरु पद सेवे, राम कृष्ण यही मत देवे। यह तन विष की बेलरी, गुरु अमृत का खान। ईश दिए जो गुरु मिले, तो भी सस्ता जान। First of all, Dipti ji, can you share the
Subhashi, that one is not handy, but let me speak to
I have it.
Laji offline.
I
And
have it.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
here it is.
okay.
If you go down, because either I can share it or
I
You
have shared it. I have shared it. Yeah.
okay. So if you go further down, just 4 slides. On the 5th slide it is, and it's not moving. Yes. Thank you, Dalmani ji. So today's couplets, अद्भुत मायु गगन में अर्ध सोम रस धार, सीता वैदिक नाम है, योगिन प्राण आधार. This one couplet, it has so much in it that it is beyond my words to provide a real explanation. See, these couplets were written by Swamiji in his deep stages of meditation. So these are experience based. What I will be talking is mere knowledge based. So I can never do justice to any of these couplets trying to explain it at the level of mind. It's same as if I have never been to Chandni Chowk, New Delhi, and if Jessica ji is asking me what it looks like, the explanation that I will give will be on a map. I will show her the GPS. But what it's real significance is will not be explained by my words. My wisdom, my words, everything will be lacking in sharing the real essence of that place, Chandni Chowk in New Delhi. Similarly, this couplet, and based on my knowledge and what I have read, and it is not at all based on my experience. So I wish an experienced person shared their experience of these couplets. So based on what I have read, and my apologies if I make some mistake, please feel free to correct me. It's a description of the 5th stage of Vihangam Yoga. The same way we need milk, ghee, all those things to nourish our body. So that is the food of the body, we say. In similar manner, the food of the soul is that somras dhar. So here in this couplet, there is description of that amrit, that nectar, that excelliar, the source of immense pleasure and the food for the soul, which is being called as Sita. So Sita, as Swamiji has mentioned in this couplet and further in the Bhashya, the explanation, that that flow, and since it is a som rush, so rush has to always flow. So it is flowing towards the soul, which is basking in the glory of Sadgurudev at the 11th window. So these descriptions I'm giving is again very bookish description, not doing any justice to what is being mentioned here. So let's begin again from the level of the body, mind and soul. Every day we are nurturing, taking care of our body. A time comes, the body grows and then comes in immense dissatisfaction. That immense dissatisfaction of what more is to life beyond body and meeting the worldly requirements. So what more is to life, that is always has bothered the great sense. So there is one description of Lord Ram, that Lord Ram talks to his guru, and that guru is known as Vasishtha. So Vasishtha gives a lesson to Lord Ram, the guru, the teacher, Vasishtha. He gives a lesson to Lord Ram when he is expressing his dissatisfaction or feeling delusional about being in this world. So he says, Yadi deham prithaka kritya chiti vishramat tishthit yada trinikrita shesha vaimeko bhavishyasi. So he says, Hey Ram is a way of addressing someone. So, Hey Ram is a god in Indian mythology, or you can say an expression of God. As we discussed that if we have not reached there at the level of the soul, whatever we are sharing is just an expression of our own understanding, the image that we create is again our own visual mental picture of God. So Guru Vasisht explains, Yadi Deham Prithak. So he says, if Deham means body, Prithak means separate, Kritya means activities, day-to-day activities, and Chiti is the words for soul. So Guru Vasisht tells Ram that if you separate your soul, the inner force, the consciousness, from your day-to-day activities, and if your soul, the surati of the soul, the ray of the soul, right now in this body we have our soul, and soul has its rays, means we are dissipating that ray or surati of the soul in our day-to-day worldly activities. Instead, if that surati, that ray of the soul, that where the soul is focused on, if that surati is stabilized at its source, then all these worldly things become meaningless. And then that is the time when you understand that all these worldly things is Trina Krit Shesh. Trina means grass, Sukhi Vighas. So Trina Krit Shesh means all the worldly pleasure and the world will be a keen, similar to the tip of a dried grass. And at that time, when the soul, Surati has become Nirati, which we discussed in the last session, at that time, with the help of Nirati, begins the devotion, begins the prayer to only Nirati can pray the real bhakti. I think Niranjanji asked me in the last session that right now all our prayers are at the level of body and mind. When do we pray at the level of soul? So when the Surati becomes Nirati, at that time begins the prayer or the devotion or the focus to that Almighty. Now here the word Adbhut Mayu Gagan mein. Adbhut as in unique, altogether different. Mayu, as I understood, is a word for Megh, as in cloud. So Swamiji is trying to explain and help us visualize that what it may look like for those who have not experienced. That Sar Shabd, that Satpurus, that Almighty, that God or Brahma, whatever word we use, that is more like a cloud, a unique, magnificent cloud in the sky. From there, the excellier, the nectar is coming down. And when this nectar comes down, and if the soul is at the 11th door, or we call it window, then under the light of Sadguru Dev, that soul gets its nutrition. Just like the body's nutrition is milk and other ingredients, the soul's nutrition is that som ras, that nectar, that elixir of life. And here that has been called as Sita. Sita Vedic naam hai. So it is also known as Sita. Yogin Prana Adhar. Adhar means the basis. Yogin, as in those who are meditating. So we all are yogis here. The basic pran. So here we are not talking about apan, vayu, and that part of the pran, but what it is referring to is we as meditator, we as yogis, this is the elixir of life, that som ras dhar, which is flowing from that cloud, and it is meant for the real yogis who under the blessings of Sadguru Dev, they cross the 10th door, then the Akshar Brahm, and then in that Sadguru Mandal, there they are, and they receive the elixir. And that is where they are dissolved. That is the sole purpose of the soul gets what it meant to be, what it was craving for. And that is possible through meditation, through different stages of first, second, third, fourth, and the fifth stage of Vihangam Yoga. But once again, this is my description based on very much of a knowledge base, and I've never experienced it. It's more like defining an elephant. So if someone who is never seen an elephant, and that someone is told that elephant is crossing the city, and their eyes are closed. There are 7 to 8 people who have formed a group and who are trying to discover and define things. Their eyes are closed, and elephant is so huge and so big that everyone touches the different part of the elephant, and then they describe it in their own manner. So the outcome is they will all say, if someone who caught hold of one of the limbs of the elephant, they will say it's like a pillar. Elephant is like a pillar, a strong, wide. You can put your arms around that pillar. Someone who got the tail will have a different description. So most important of all is having that vision to see it. And that vision comes when your mind and when your prana are dissolved in their origin. They are settled, they are down, they are dissolved. And that also is only possible under the blessings of Sadguru Dev. Even there you need a guru, a teacher, a master who prevents you from deviating and gives you the direction that no, what you are seeing is just a part of it. And it tells you about seeing it from a distance. It gives you the real picture so that you do not get deviated or do not lose the essence. And the basic purpose of being human and coming on this world, in this earth, was to get freedom from the cycle of the birth and rebirth. And that only happens when there is self-realization. And when you know that you are a soul, not merely body and mind and breath, then that soul craves for what is its nutrient, the som ras, the elixir of life. And that you get when you reach that stage. So I've tried my best to explain it in few words. Anyone who would, as I remember, these sessions are meant to be dialogue, and we are supposed to share. So back to you, Dipti, so that we can open it to discuss, and people can have any questions or whatever they would like to share.
Thank you so much, Subhashi, and thanks for making us understand this Doha so beautifully. And You elaborated pretty well from the beginning to the end, though it's quite complicated, as we all know. So I would like to request other Guru Bhai, Guru Bahens, or any new joinee to pitch in on this Doha, and if they have something, any question or any kind of thought on this, they can share on this platform.
If not, then we can go to the next couplet, and maybe then collectively.
Sure, Subhashi.
Okay. So the next couplet, Kasha Chetan Kala Kiran Surati Chiti Gyan, Yah Shabd Prayay Hai, Sant Amat Mat Gyan. So here again the description is of the life force, our life force that is being dissipated in a downward direction. So that energy of the soul, which has been given multiple names here. Kiran means ray, Surati, as we discussed, the soul's, in the last session we discussed soul has 8 different rays. We talked about Astam Surati. So let's understand it this way, that if we have a soul, a life force within us, then that life force is letting or connecting with the outside world with all these openings that we talk about in our body and through our Gyanendriya and Karmendriya. So here the discussion is that surati of the soul, when it becomes nirati, first of all, knowing in itself that we are Chetan, means we are a life force, and from our soul, the ray of our soul is the only thing which through the meditation we can go beyond man, pran, evam indriya, beyond the mind, body, and our breath. We can go beyond that to unwind, to open the soul's real potential. And when that soul in its finest form, that is the nirati, which further ascends up under the guidance of Sadguru Dev. So here Sadguru Dev is once again talking about this science, that this is a Chetan science. This is a conscious science. And to experiment on such science, one will have to be in the conscious realm. We are right now in the Prakriti realm. We are right now in the realm of body, mind, all those inert objects. So it's difficult for us to understand that. But this knowledge of Vihangam Yoga is the science of consciousness, which is Sant Amat Mat Gyan. So Sant Amat Mat Gyan. The reference is, again, it's difficult for me to say it word by word, and I may make a mistake there. So please feel free to correct me. But The essence here is Sant, the saints, whoever is meditating and giving up on worldly desires and worldly afflictions, those Sant amat mat gyan means it is beyond the knowledge. And only beyond the knowledge of the mind and the intellect, and only those Sant, only those devotees, only those practitioners who, through the practice of Vihangam Yoga, have solidified them to the extent that their mind has stopped wandering. They have control on mind and their breath. Those are the only people who understand Surati, who understand that they are a life force. The way it is said about soul is that soul's consciousness has a unique property. And that property is of identifying itself with whatever it is associated with. When it is attached to the body, it identifies itself with the body, as if it forgets that it is an active life force. But throughout our life, we always remember that we are the body. As Swamiji says that hum shariri hai, hum sharir nahi hai, means we are not the body. Body is just a cover. So the soul has forgotten that this soul is using this cover of the body, because that is the unique tendency of the soul to identify itself with whatever it is associated with. Similarly, when it identifies itself with the Brahma, then once again it gets, because of its association with the Brahma, you see, you have heard it many times, then you say, or those devoted practitioners who have experienced it, the feeling of Aham Brahmasmi. So it starts identifying itself with that infinite energy and starts claiming that I am infinitely great, I am infinitely strong in the power of my soul. And those who have experienced it the way they share it, that the power of eyes, ears, pran, apan, vyan, all are infinitely increased, and their sense of self is I am infinite in everything. So that is the nature of the soul, associating with the infinite. It starts claiming that the soul in itself is infinite. And there comes the role of the Sadguru, your Guru, who directs you, and your Surati, which has become Nirati. Only that Sukshma, the microscopic you, who has shed all of it, that Sadguru directs it to its path through the 11th door. And that reference in Surveda is 11th window. So once again, this is the description I have. Yah Shabd Prayay hai, the second line, which means these are all the synonyms of Kasha, Chetan Kala, Kiran, Surati, Chiti, Gyan. All these are synonyms of a single word or single essence, and that is Atma Rashmi, means the ray of the soul, that is known as Surati, which in its finest form becomes Nirati. Thank you. Back to you, Diptiji.
Thank you so much, Subhashi. Today it seems the dohas are pretty tough, and you are answering so beautifully. So I would like to again request our audience to ask any question to Subhashi. Please feel free to ask any question on this two dohas to Subhashi.
Yeah, Jai Satgurudev. Dipti ji, I have a question.
Ji, Monica ji.
So Subhashi was mentioning between the lines something about all these practitioners, Vihangam Yoga practitioners, when they come to a point where they control their breath, their mind, and their thoughts. Only those practitioners, know what is Surati and how the Surati can get transformed into Nirati. So because we understand these dohas have been written by, or I must say that these dohas are merely the experiences in the deep stages of meditation that our Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj uh, purported, right? And these were written later. I think that was by Dharmchandra Dioji Maharaj, beautifully written in Swarved. So my question is that when a practitioner is practicing Vihangam yoga meditation, irrespective of what or which stage he or she may be in, does the when the practitioner reaches a point where he or she is able to control the mind, the breath, the thoughts, is it that the practitioner already has reached with the due practice of meditation, is able to realize that, or is it when the practitioner gets the blessings of Sadguru to go beyond a level, or whatever his present state might be, only then that practitioner will experience the surati, or in other words, will transform, from his consciousness being a surati to nirati. So that is my question, that in the experience, does it come naturally to a practitioner uh, to experience these higher states of consciousness, or is it only when Sadguru Dev blesses a practitioner to experience these things? Because what I'm hearing is, in the satsangs, that the speaker tries his best to explain us the dohas, but they are merely the experiences of such a supreme, great yogi, Sadafal Devji Maharaj. So when we try to imply or apply these things to our, we might be nowhere in meditation as compared to that stature where Sadafal Devji Maharaj was, or where there are some really very experienced yogis of Vihangam yoga in India or elsewhere, that we have not reached that state. So that's how my question is, if you're able to answer. Thank you.
Yes, Sadhgurudev Monica ji. So first of all, let's come to the question. If I'm understanding it correctly, you are saying that will the experiencer experience it gradually as they continue meditation, or it is only possible when Sadguru wants it to happen? And only under his guidance, these experiences will happen. Did I understand your question correctly?
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes. I couldn't have said it any better. Yes, you got my question.
Uh, Thank you. So this question is at least easier for me to answer rather than the couplets of Swarveda, because the way I would again explain it, to specialize into one single field, and for me, since I'm from the medical side, so only those examples sounds and seems to be very pertinent to me. We go through 29 subjects. We read anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and the pharmacology, microbiology, pediatrics, OBGYN, mental health. So there are 29 subjects altogether, and you have to pass all the subjects. And then comes, once you have seen all the subjects in some finer, you have a prima facie understanding of all these subjects, and then you become an MBBS, and then you do another 4 years to specialize. So let's say anatomy. If I had to learn anatomy all by myself, it would take me first 50 or 100 years to break down every cell, tissue, and bone, and muscle, and the nerve of the body. So a guru, a teacher, whoever has established by focusing on the human body for years and years and years and years, and they wrote it in a book, that is, we call it Gray's Anatomy, and there's also a TV show with the name Gray's. So it made it simpler for us, and still it is not simple actually. It is the toughest subject in medical science is the human anatomy, to learn it. So I would say that based on my understanding, if someone wants to experience it on their own, yes, it is doable. But I don't think that it will be doable in just one life. It needs multiple lives. I was reading the book written by K.D. Sinhaji, where he talks about Raj Yoga, which has all sorts of bandh, mudra, pranayam, asana, to awaken, to awaken the kundalini or the serpent power. They spent multiple years trying to do that. He shares his experience from Raj Yoga that he practiced it for 13 years and could not do Kundalini Jagran or that serpent awakening at the third, what we call at Brahmarandh, which opens up, or the 10th door. He further mentions in his book that he rarely came across came across a practitioner of Raj Yoga who ever achieved that stage of Kundalini Jagran. Whereas when he came into the fold of Vihangam Yoga after 13 years of Raj Yoga, it was easily achieved by the grace of the Guru, by attuning the consciousness to the sound of Rarankar at the third stage in the journey of consciousness. So this is what he shared in his book, that yes, there are so many people who are trying to unwind spirituality. Similarly, there are so many subjects, and yes, it can be done. But to do it, I don't know how many birth and rebirth and life would be needed. And there comes the role of a guru or a teacher or a master who has experienced it and who is kind enough, who is not looking at our drawbacks, our shortcomings, how much deficient we are, and he's there to bless us with the guidance, with the route to that path where things will happen. So from this memoir of Teddy Sinhaji, that's something he could not achieve after 13 years of rigorous Raj Yoga. By the blessing of Sadgurudev, he has explained it beautifully that how when he attuned his consciousness to the sound of Rarankar at the third stage of the journey, he experienced the opening of the 10th door. So the Guru's grace and direction is very important. We don't even know where is the 10th door. Either someone tells us, or otherwise we will spend the entire life focusing at different places. The first stage we learned it is at the tip of the nose, then is the second stage, third stage. So if we are not aware, if we are not informed or have no knowledge of where the consciousness has to be attuned, we will keep wandering our entire life to even have what we call the Kundalini Jagran or opening the 10th door. And so many literatures, if you look at Chand Yoga, Upanishad, so many times it has been mentioned again and again, these paths. None of this is new. None of this is unique to Vihangam Yoga. It is nowhere said that only when you become Vihangam Yogi, only then you will know all this path. All these are mentioned very well. Like we do Gayatri Mantra. So even in the Gayatri, the book where the Gayatri has been, the book is of Gayatri Upasana. In the chapter of Gayatri Upasana in Chand Yoga Upanishad and Brihadranayaka Upanishad, it talks about all of this. There is a light of moon there and the grants glaze and beauty, talking about the second stage. And then it also talks about the third stage, the fourth and the fifth. So everything is mentioned in our ancient literatures in Upanishad. And there are so many places these have been referenced. But to get the direction from one to the other, it will take forever if it is not for the guidance and for the blessings of Sadgurudev. I hope I answered it to some extent. Back to you, Diptiji, Monica.
Ji, yes, Subhaji. No, I understand that we do need our the master Sadgurudev to guide us at every step. But I asked that question because I was trying to understand when you mentioned about the yogis and they reach a level where they can foresee or experience their surati. So that's how I was trying to interpret, like, does that happen naturally that they experience once they have conquered their mind and breath and body, that they start experiencing surati, or does it only happen when Sadgurudev guides them to see? So I think you explained it very well, but that's something I was not clear about. That
question of yours remain unanswered. So the way I would answer it is most of the human beings are attracted towards their opposite sex. Nowadays we have exception and same sex. How does that happen? No one ever tells you that you have to be attracted to the opposite sex. It's our basic instinct. It is coded in our genes, in our cells, and that pulls us there. But even being pulled to the opposite sex, it does not lead to an ultimate destination where you will get married and get settled and have life. So then there is a direction either given by the parents or the friends that this boy or girl is not right for you. So my understanding, I'm talking from my level, my understanding would be that when you are at that level of Akshara Mandal, where your man, pran, and buddhi, all of them have become, have ceased to exist, and then you are only a soul, it will have its basic instinct, which is wrong to say here because soul does not need a basic instinct. But for the purpose of explanation, it in itself will be pulled towards the, from the 10th door, we talked about Akshar Mandal, it will be pulled itself towards the 11th window. What I mean to convey is, without our knowledge, we don't even think about it, how our soul is engrossed through our sense organs and Chatushtha Antahkaran, Man, Buddhi, Chit and Ahankar to this universe. Again, it's the soul's energy. So we are lost. What made us come to Vihangam Yoga? Did someone tell you that Vihangam Yoga is a necessity? You must do Vihangam Yoga, only then you will survive? No. Somewhere, somehow, your soul and its surati was feeling that dissatisfaction, that something is missing in life, which was never told to you that what is missing. And in itself, it was finding its path here and there in prayers, in some fasting techniques, that something is missing. And finally, you embarked on the journey of Vihangam Yoga. So yes, without your soul's innate desire or innate need, you will never have a direction. So your soul already has a direction in which it is moving. And now coming to your question here is that you won't be reaching the Akshar Brahm. We are talking about Surati and Nirati, that is beyond the 4th stage. And if you are such a pious soul who easily crosses the stage where one can silent all the sense organs, then comes that you silent the mind, purify it, then you go further beyond. If you are able to do that on your own, then my intellectual understanding will be that yes, you will be able to change your surati to nirati if without any guru's influence, just by this knowledge and the books, if you have been able to reach that stage. If I failed to discuss it, then please feel free to let me know, Monica ji.
Yes. So basically, Subhashji, this is what I understand, that when a practitioner goes into deep state of meditation, or maybe the second stage or the third stage, which I don't know about, right? And the practitioner is practicing for a few hours and few days and few weeks. And in that meditation, deep state of meditation, he or she will get guidance where he will reach a state where he crosses the mind, the breath, and the body, and is able to experience the higher state of consciousness, that may be surati, all under the guidance of the master and with his ardent practice. Did I get it right?
Yes, but it did not answer your question, which I was trying to, that let's say there is no master. Let's say there is no master, and we have all this knowledge written in Upanishad, written in Chanda Yoga, Gita, and we start doing it all by ourselves, right? So I think your question was, so can I reach there without a master and without a guru, or do I must need his blessings to reach that stage. So if it's just in the scriptures, in the books, the knowledge that is mentioned in most of the holy scriptures, if I just read them and keep reading them, as they say, it all leads to Vachak Gyan. Knowledge wise, again, people will reach there by the knowledge. The same way today I'm explaining about the Somras, which is knowledge of the fifth stage, without any such experience. Same way, many people in Kashi and all those Pandits who are there, they have gained this knowledge, they have read the scriptures, they talk about it. And the problem that happens is deforming the knowledge, like Trikuti. So in Allahabad, in the Kumbh, those who reach and the Kumbh Mela, they dip themselves in the holy water. That is their interpretation of Trikuti Me Snan. So only until and unless you have experienced what is the Trikuti in your body, what is that where you shower into, until and unless you have experienced that, my understanding says that we can never go beyond that. So to go beyond that, one needs many, many lives, because even to complete or just slow down all your sense organs, it needs multiple years. Even Swami Sadguru Swatantra Devji Maharaj, I think in one of his discourses, talked about that he had to meditate on the first stage itself for 3 years. So to the process of even slowing down all your sense organs in itself is so lengthy that to cross that stage and think about Trikuti, it doesn't seem doable by one's own accord, based on the experiences written by those who have crossed those phases. I remember even my father used to talk about it, that before that he came across so many different techniques, so many people who would teach meditation, because he was detached from the day-to-day things and was looking for something beyond life. They all teach you all these things in some form or the other. But to experience it, only an experienced person can direct you to that experience. On your own, in this entire life, you can experience the stage 1. You can slow down your 5 sense organs in stage 1. You'll barely hear people talking about stage 2 if they are doing it on their own. One of my uncle, and I forgot the name of the technique, the practice was you have to imagine Om in between your eyebrows. That was the practice. But that is not correct. Om is not something that you imagine. It happens. The sound and the light of Om happens at Trikuti, where your imagination is not required. Same. So people have learned it, people have read it, and there are so many gurus who talks about different stages, and they tell you to do what is mentioned in the books, but that will not be the same as being the experiencer. So to reach that experience, a direction, purification, and this entire process is a must. Thank you. Back to you, Monica ji.
Ji, Subhash ji. Thank you so much for the explanation. Yes. Back to you, Deepti ji.
Thank you, Monica ji, for your question, and thank you, Subhash ji, for answering it so beautifully. So, Subhash ji, I have a question. Like, it might sound a little bit childish, but I'm just curious to know, like since we have talked about this two dohas, and these are like they both are related to level 5 meditation technique. So I'm just wondering, sadhaks who are in the fifth stage of meditation, so is there any way that we can have satsang with them online, or do you know anybody who is connected, via virtual satsang with other countries, head, so that we can have the next level, like that level of satsang. I know it's related to this dohas, but I'm just curious to know, since it's a very complicated doha, and I'm just curious to know how those sadhaks, they conduct their life, and how their mind works, and if we get the chance to have the satsang with them. So this is what my question.
Triptiji, the question that you have asked seems like our senior members, Vijayji, Lalmaniji, they will know if how to contact those people, and if they will be willing to come and talk on our platform in this manner. I personally know Rajaswari, Dr. R. Prasad, who wrote the book Introduction to Vihangam Yoga, Dr. Rajeshwar Prasad. So he came to our medical college, and I had requested him to come and talk to the students, the medical students. He came there. And first and foremost, when they talk, it's very difficult to comprehend what they are talking about. Because that experience, their experience of those stages, it is very difficult to express those in words. When said in words, they are only open to being misconstrued and misunderstood. The way we say that the taste of jaggery or taste of a rasgulla cannot be explained. Only when you taste it, only then you know what it really tastes like. I can tell you it is brown, it is juicy. So even that amla ka murabba, what will it be in English? Even that sugar-based those fruits, they also look brown and juicy, but it's not same. So when he talked and talked, even I was listening to him, I could barely understand whatever he was saying. But the outcome was that there were 125 medical students in that auditorium, and all of them were ready to get initiated with the first stage of Vihangam Yoga. So there are certain things, as a man of science, I believe in evidence base. So that spirituality is beyond evidence based. It is experience based. And if you do not have experience, no matter how much mind and intellect we can keep using, there is no way to decipher what someone is talking about. And as they say that these are the people who are Chandra Chakorvat, Ahirnish, like 24 hours a day, their conscious energy is in one and only one direction. They do the daily chores as needed to maintain the body, as needed to, because Sariri, the cover of our soul, has to be nurtured. Otherwise, you will not be able to, the soul won't have a body to do anything further. So I personally am not in contact with anyone. And Dr. Rajeshwar Prasad, he left his mortal body, and we heard about him that he was reborn in Italy. We also heard exactly where he was born, because maybe his mortal journey of birth and rebirth was not complete. So he was born again. And again, I just have heard it, and we call it hearsay for a reason. In hearsay, and not being a circumstantial witness, there's a big difference. So what I'm sharing is just a hearsay. I am not a witness to any of these. So there are people who have Shar Shabdudesh, who have been initiated to the 5th stage. And I don't know if they can be reached out. They should be, and they will be willing and open to share their experience, not just wisdom. That will be a blessing for all of us. So if this is doable, then it's a great idea, and it will help us to understand things better. But again, I would repeat that the understanding is again at the level of the mind. And we are talking about a science which is beyond mind, a science which is only experienced. No matter how someone shares it and explains it, it is never the same as someone experiences it. And back to you, Diptiji.
Thank you so much, Subhashji. You answered my question so beautifully. Thanks a lot. And I think, Lalji, we have to stop the sharing.
1 second, Deeptiji, just one small thing.
Yeah, sure.
Subhashji mentioned about Dr. K.D. Sinha ji, right? I think I must have read an article by him. Subhashji, is my understanding correct? Is Dr. K.D. Sinha ji like still in his mortal frame right now? He's one of a very great disciples of Sadhguru Dev. And I must have read his article in one of the books. I think might be Smarika that I got last year on the 75th birth anniversary of our present master. So can you just speak a line or two about Dr. K.D. Sinha?
Yes. So Dr. K.D. Sinha ji was a lecturer in mathematics at RIT Jamshedpur. So it is Regional Institute of Technology in Jamshedpur. It's a city in Jharkhand, a state in India. And that was in the year 1964. He became a lecturer. Before that also, because I had the opportunity to spend time with him and talk to him, and he shared his book with me so that I can make some edits, which I never did. He used to read Bhagavad Gita, Ramcharitramanas, even from his childhood days. He would also do the mantras of Lord Hanuman, Lord Shankar. He also was a disciple of Sri Devraha Baba, a famous guru. And there he received the mantra of Lord Vishnu for repetition. That he mentions, Sri Dr. K.D. Sinha ji, he mentions that he met Devraha Baba on the occasion of Mahakumbh at Allahabad. And Devraha Baba predicted that he will get peace and will go ahead with this new approach and will get a new direction. So he learned from Swami Satyanandji in Munger. He learned the practice of Raj Yoga. And he was craving for that supreme light. He was craving for a practice that could give him inner light, in which he could see himself and he could see the supreme light. He also did Kriya Yoga practice of Lahiri Mahase at Ranchi, which was founded by Sri Yoganandji. Even I have visited Sri Yoganandji's ashram in Ranchi. So when he was 40 years old, at this age of 42 years, his younger brother named Radhe Krishna Sinha. Let me see the time. So I will talk for another 5 minutes because there is a lot of detail which gives us a perspective of how a seeker moves from one to the other place. So now he's 42 when his younger brother Radhe Krishna Sinha ji, I had met him in New Delhi. I went to their house and I came across both of them. I remember seeing them. They both were clad in white cloth, and the face was so shiny, both of them. So Radhe Krishna Sinha ji, his younger brother, had brought the then Anubhavanand ji at his house in Jamshedpur. And his younger brother learned about Vihangam Yoga then. And he started having a lot of inner experiences. And in his words, he was saying that Sant Anubhavanand ji was a disciple of Sadguru Acharya Sri Swatantra Dev Ji Maharaj of Vihangam Yoga at Pakdi Balia. That was what he learned when he learned about this Vihangam Yoga from his younger brother, who got initiated with by Sant Anubhavanand ji. And he shared with his brother, means K.D. Sinha ji, that K.D. Sinha ji shares his experience here that when he was initiated into Vihangam Yoga at age 42, his breath stopped and whole consciousness moved up above the head, where I saw a brilliant light and a vibratory sound over the entire body. I was terrified in the beginning. I was not ready to go to Balia when requested by my younger brother. But when I started seeing pictures of the saint, and that picture is of Swami Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, when he started seeing that picture for many days in his mind, after this he decided to go to Pakri Balia. And on the day of the journey, a young boy of 11 years approached him as a brahmachari and said that, "Gentleman, the Prakriti is very pleased with you and donate something." And when K.D. Sinha ji asked this young boy who is 11 years old, "How do you know that this Prakriti is very pleased with me?" He said, "I have acquired this knowledge as Parampara Guru." The 11-year-old boy said, "I have acquired this knowledge as Parampara Guru." And then K.D. Sinha ji went to Pakli Balia and he saw two pictures on which it was written Sant Kabir on the picture of that old age as well as boy. But when he met Sadguru Swatantra Dev Ji Maharaj, he was then fully satisfied and started a regular practice. Swatantra Dev Ji Maharaj told him about his previous life's connection, visions of which he used to have during meditation. He translated a few books of Swami Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj into English. And he also wrote 2 booklets, Vihangam Yoga, Ek Drishti in Hindi, and Disintegration of Sensational Culture and Down of Vihangam Yoga in English. And there is much more detail, but time is up. So I will stop here and back to you, Monica ji.
Yes, so just one last thing. Did I hear it correct, Dr. Subhashji, that Dr. K.D. Sinha ji kept his mortal frame this year?
I am not very sure of this. So I don't want to say anything without.
Okay. No worries. Thank you so much for sharing this, Dr. Subhashji, and back to you, Deepti ji.
Thank you so much, Subhashi, for speaking on those 2 complex dohas, and you gave your best to make us understand in the depth. Thank you so much again for your entire wisdom that you shower on us today. Thanks a lot. So now let's move forward to the next section. I would like to inform everyone about an event Navy is proud to announce. It is Warrior of the Week. We all know the best time to meditate is Brahma Muhurat between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. But most of us fail to do. To encourage this, Navy started this event where participants join the WhatsApp group called Brahma Muhurat Warrior. Each participant practice Brahma Muhurat meditation on their own. There is no session to join. Once you are done with the meditation, you can send the status to the group as done. If you are interested to join the group, please let us know and we can send you the link. So for this week, the Warrior of the Week listed below: Maya ji, Surya Alamraju ji, Tejinder Sahadev ji, Srirang ji, Vinita ji, Prachi Shirsagar ji, Lalmani ji, and Yogesh Shirsagar ji. So congratulations to all of you, and thanks a lot for encouraging us to meditate in the Brahma Muhurat time. And inductees of the week are those who were able to meditate at least once in the past week, and they are Bhagwati Patel ji, Ranjani ji, Amit Talekar ji, Vijay Kumar ji, Geet ji, Raj Kumar Gupta ji, Niranjan Kumar ji from California, and my name is there. Congratulations to all of you too. We have now reached the last page of today's workshop. In this page, we chant the short version of Vandana, Aarti, and Shantipat. Vandana is the prayer through which we seek blessing of the Sadguru. We request well-being of health, wealth, and seek his blessings for spiritual knowledge. I would now request Devji to sing the last 4 lines of Vandana. Over to you, Devji.
Vandana. Prabhu Kalpa Santa Sachmaja Uttam Sarva Dharma Chaya Hain Jimi Nadya Sriti Sindhu Ki Hai Vishvapathamaya Kaya Hai Prabhu Sacha Santa Samajatira Aparaksha Kijiye Jana Sadafala Jana Bhakti Vriti Dina Dina Kijiye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devji, for reciting Vandana. Aarti is another prayer offered to the Sadguru. Here we acknowledge the power of Almighty and pray that all disciples experience eternal joy, love, and freedom from worries under His holy guidance. I request everybody to stand up for the Aarti. I would now request Devji to sing the last 4 lines of Aarti. Over to you, Devji.
Arti. Guru Murati Gati Kandrama Sivaka Nayana Chakur Palaka Palaka Nirakata Rahe Guru Murati Ki Or Shweta Shweta Maya Shweta He Shweta Shweta Maya Shweta Tina Pada Amtar Para Shweta Mahamada Shweta Ashta Chakra Sabasunya Para Dara Adhara Kipar Taham Sadafalagara Kia Bolipara Samsar.
Thank you, Devji. Now everyone can sit down for the final prayer Shanti Path. In the Shanti Path, we chant for peace for everyone who exists in this universe. May Sadguru Dev bless the entire cosmos with peace, love, and prosperity. I would now request again Devji to recite the last few lines of Shanti Path for us.
Shantipat. Hey Prabhu Shanti Sarupa Ho Shanti Shanti Maya Shanti 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 Jana Shanti Ho Purna Shanti Maya Shanti Hey Prabhu Shanti Pradana Kara Duraho Sarva Shanti Deva Sada Phala Shanti Maya Shanti Shanti Sukha Shanti Jasa Guru Deva Bhagawan Ki Jai.
Thank you so much, Devji, for reciting Vandana, Aarti, and Shanti Path for us. Thanks a lot. I would like to thank all of you for joining us and also encourage everybody to ponder over the topic we discussed today. The Navy has been conducting the Sunday virtual satsangs and Bihangam Yoga initiation workshops all over the USA and North America over the last few years. Any queries relating to this can be sent as an email to info@bihangamyoga.org. I would like to request, I would also like to thank Subhashi, Monica ji, for their discussion and question answers, and also would like to thank Lalji for sharing the screen and giving their valuable contribution in today's session. See you all next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. EST on the same go-to meeting session. Have a wonderful day ahead and Jai Sadgurudev.